Once you know this secret, keep your mouth shut. I am Bonang Matheba, and baby girl, let me take you back to the moment I learned the hardest lesson of my life. It was 2016, the year I thought I had the world in the palm of my perfectly manicured hand. Contracts were rolling in, magazine covers were piling up, my name was on every red carpet list, and I was 26 years old, thinking I was invincible. I had just signed what was supposed to be my biggest deal yet, an international beauty campaign that would finally put me on billboards from Johannesburg to Times Square. I was so excited, I couldn't breathe right. That night, I sat in my apartment with a glass of rosé, FaceTiming every single person in my contacts, telling them every detail, the money, the cities, the creative direction. Even the exact shade of foundation they were creating for my skin tone. I was screaming, crying, posting cryptic tweets, putting congratulations songs on my Instagram stories before the ink was even dry. I wanted everyone to feel my joy because I thought joy shared was joy doubled. 2 weeks later, the deal fell apart. Not because I did anything wrong, but because someone I trusted, someone I had told every single detail to, leaked the entire campaign to a competitor. Overnight, I went from next big thing to remember when she almost. I sat on my bathroom floor at 3 in the morning, mascara running, staring at my phone with 100 missed calls, and I finally understood. The louder I announced my blessings, the easier I made it for someone to block them. That was the first time I realized that not every ear that claps for you is attached to a heart that wants you to win. Some people smile in your face while quietly praying your chapter closes so theirs can open. That night, I cried until there was nothing left, and then I made myself a promise. Never again would I hand someone the map to my dreams before I had already walked the road. I learned that excitement is beautiful, but premature exposure is dangerous. From that day forward, I started practicing the art of moving in silence, and darling, that single shift changed everything. The moment you stop announcing every move is the moment the universe starts protecting your magic. Let me tell you why we women feel the need to tell everybody everything. We've been raised to believe that keeping things to ourselves looks shady, that being open is the same as being authentic, that if we don't share our wins, people will think we're arrogant. So we overshare to prove we're humble, we post the vision board before we've bought the first brick, we tell our friends the business idea before we've even registered the domain name. I used to be the queen of that. I thought if I didn't tell people what I was building, they would think I wasn't doing anything. I needed the yes girl and the fire emojis to feel like my dreams were real. Then one day I watched someone I considered a sister take the exact TV show concept I had been talking about for months and pitch it to a network using almost my exact words. She got the green light, I got silence. And the worst part, when I confronted her, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "Well, you talked about it for years and never did anything with it." So I thought it was free. That sentence broke something in me and healed something at the same time. I realized people don't steal your dream because they're evil. Sometimes they steal it because you treated it like a rumor instead of a plan. You kept talking about the restaurant, the clothing line, the book, the move to another country, and because they never saw the work, they assumed it was just conversation. I paid the price of showing my entire hand before the game even started. I learned that every time you tell someone your goal, your brain gets a tiny hit of dopamine, the same chemical you get from actually accomplishing the goal, and that little hit tricks you into feeling satisfied when you haven't done the work yet. Talking becomes the substitute for doing. That's why so many of us stay stuck. We keep cashing the emotional check before we've put in the labor. I stopped doing that. I started writing my plans in my journal, praying over them in private, building in the dark, and girl, when things finally started blooming, people were shocked because they never saw the seeds. The price of showing your cards too early is watching someone else play your winning hand. Keep your next move close to your chest because the element of surprise is still one of the most powerful advantages a woman can have. Sweetheart, let me clear something up once and for all. Staying quiet does not mean you have nothing to say. It means you finally understand the value of what you carry. There is a difference between being silent and being silenced. One is power, the other is pain. I spent years thinking that if I wasn't talking, explaining, defending, announcing, I was disappearing. I thought my voice was the only proof that I existed. Then I watched the most powerful women I know move like ghosts in rooms full of noise. They smile, they listen, they take mental notes, and they leave without giving away a single clue about what's really going on inside. And somehow those are the women who end up running the room by the end of the night. I started studying them. I noticed the way they let other people talk themselves into corners while they simply observed. I noticed how nobody could predict their next move because nobody knew their current one. I noticed how peaceful they looked, how unbothered, how expensive their energy felt, and I wanted that. So I started practicing strategic silence. When someone asked me what I was working on, I smiled and said a couple things and changed the subject. When people pressed me about my love life, I said God's writing a beautiful story and left it there. When old friends tried to dig for information to carry back to the group chat, I gave them warmth but no details. And something miraculous happened. The less I explained, the more powerful I felt. People started respecting my privacy because I respected it first. They stopped asking questions they knew I wouldn't answer, and in that space, I found peace I had never known before. Silence became my armor. It protected me from envy, from sabotage, from doubt, from drama. It gave me time to think, to pray, to build, to heal. And most importantly, it taught me that I don't owe anyone access to my becoming. The strongest version of you is the version nobody gets to narrate but you. When you master the art of silence, you stop performing your life and you start living it. And trust me, darling, there is nothing more terrifying to your enemies and more attractive to your destiny than a woman who has learned to move in quiet power. Silence is not the absence of strength, it is the presence of control. And once you own that, nobody can take it from you. Baby, I need you to understand something that took me years to fully accept. People don't need the play-by-play of your life. They need the highlight reel when it's finished. I used to be the girl who talked about everything I was going to do before I did it. I'd be on the phone for hours, breaking down the vision, the timeline, the mood board, the whole dream in 4K. And then months would pass and nothing happened because I had already tasted the victory in the telling. Talking about it gave me the same rush as doing it, so the doing never came. Then one day I looked up and realized the women I admired most, the ones whose names opened doors before they even walked in, barely said a word about what was coming. They just showed up with the finished product and let the work shut the room up. That's when I made the switch. I stopped announcing seasons and started living them. I wrote the book without posting chapter 1 done every day. I built the brand without tweeting the logo ideas. I healed my heart without putting the breakup on my stories. And when things finally came out, when the book hit the shelves, when the collection sold out in hours, when I walked into rooms glowing differently, people lost their minds because they never saw it coming. That's the power of letting your actions speak. You don't have to convince anybody you're working when the results walk in before you do. The quiet grind hits different. It's sexier, it's scarier, it's more respected. People can argue with your words, but they can't argue with receipts. When you move like that, even your haters have to give you your flowers because the proof is undeniable. So the next time you feel the urge to post about the gym, the savings plan, the new man, the new hustle, ask yourself one question: is this for validation or documentation? If it's validation, close the app and go do the work. Let the transformation be the post. Let the bag be the announcement. Let the peace be the proof. The world will scream your name loud enough when it's time. Until then, let your actions be the loudest voice in the room. Listen, sis, I used to think more friends meant more love. I wanted to be everybody's favorite, the girl who knew everybody, the one at every table. I collected people the way some women collect handbags. And for a long time, I thought that was winning. Then I started noticing how exhausted I was keeping up with 100 different versions of myself, depending on who I was with. I was code switching my energy, lowering my voice here, raising my standards there, shrinking in one group, performing in another. One day, I sat down and counted how many people I could call at 2 a.m. if my world fell apart, and the number was embarrassingly small. That's when I realized quantity feels good until life gets hard. Then you find out real quick who was seasonal and who was lifetime. So I started pruning, not out of bitterness, but out of self-love. I stopped forcing connections that required me to dim my light just to make someone else comfortable. I let go of the friends who only called when they needed something. I released the ones who celebrated everybody except me. I walked away from tables where my name was only safe when I wasn't in the room. And yes, it got quiet, sometimes it got lonely, but then something beautiful happened. The few who stayed started pouring into me the way I had always poured into everyone else. My circle got tiny, but the love got huge. Conversations got deeper. Loyalty got louder. Support became unconditional. I could cry without explanation. I could win without apology. I could be in process without performance. Having a small circle taught me that peace is expensive, but it's worth every friendship I had to let go of to afford it. You don't need 100 people who kind of like you. You need 5 who'd go to war for you and you for them. Protect that circle like it's sacred, because it is. Your peace, your vision, your mental health, your magic, all of it lives inside those relationships. And when you guard them well, they guard you back. A small circle of real ones is the ultimate flex, because it means you finally value yourself enough to stop letting just anybody sit at your table. Sweetheart, if I could go back and whisper one thing to my 20-year-old self running around Johannesburg trying to make everything happen yesterday, it would be this: slow down, the best things take time. I used to think patience was passive. I thought it meant sitting around waiting for life to happen. No, baby. Patience is active. It's choosing to keep building when nothing is blooming yet. It's watering seeds you can't even see, pushing through the dirt. It's smiling on the phone while your bank account is crying. It's showing up to the gym when the scale hasn't moved in weeks. It's staying kind when people are showing you who they really are. I spent years rushing seasons that weren't ready, forcing doors that God was still painting, announcing arrivals I hadn't reached yet. And every time I rushed, I ended up with half-baked blessings that couldn't hold me. Then I learned to wait well. I learned that the time between planting and harvest isn't punishment, it's preparation. That lonely season, it taught me how to enjoy my own company. That broke season, it taught me how to manage money like a boss. That rejection season, it redirected me to rooms that actually deserved me. Every delay was dressing me for what I prayed for. Patience made me pretty on the inside. It gave me depth. It gave me grace. It gave me stories that inspire other women now. I stopped looking at the calendar and started looking at the woman in the mirror. And the longer I waited with intention, the more I liked who I was becoming. Now, when people ask me how I stay so calm while building empires and healing my heart at the same time, I tell them the truth. I finally understood that timing is God's business, alignment is mine. You keep preparing, you keep praying, you keep protecting your peace, and you trust that what's for you will not miss you. The right love won't be late. The right opportunity won't skip you. The right version of you is already on the way. And when she arrives, she'll be dressed in the kind of beauty that only patience could design. Wear your weight like couture, darling. Nothing looks better on a woman than grace under pressure and glow after the storm. Girls, there is a certain flavor of power that comes when you master the fine art of a well-kept secret. I'm not talking about lying or hiding who you are. I'm talking about choosing on purpose what you hand over and what you keep tucked close to your heart. I used to think full disclosure made me real. I wore every feeling, every plan, every hurt like a name tag. Hi, my name is Bonang, and here's my whole life story in 3 minutes or less. Then I noticed the women who fascinated me most were the ones I could never fully read. They'd laugh, they'd dance, they'd give you just enough to know they were magic, but never enough to figure out the trick. And everybody stayed leaning in, wanting more. That's when I understood mystery is not deception, it's protection, and it's a lure rolled into one. When you stop giving people the director's cut of your life, they have to watch the movie as it unfolds. I started keeping certain things off limits. The new deal I was negotiating, the country I was about to move to for a few months, the man who was quietly putting my heart back together. I'd smile and say something beautiful is cooking and leave it there. The reaction was instant. People started treating me differently. They spoke softer around me, watched me closer, respected my boundaries because I respected them first. My privacy became my perfume. People could smell it, but they couldn't bottle it. And let me tell you the sexiest side effect. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop having to defend yourself. Nobody can twist what they don't know. Nobody can hate on progress they can't see coming. Keeping secrets taught me that everything doesn't need an audience. Some blessings are VIP only, and the only name on the list is yours and God's. So the next time you feel the urge to tell the group chat, the timeline, or even your mama every detail, pause and ask yourself, does this need witnesses or does it need wings? Keep a little magic in your back pocket, baby. The world is already too loud. Sometimes the quietest woman in the room is the one everybody remembers. One of the kindest things I ever did for myself was stop watching everybody else's garden while mine was still growing. Social media trained us to think life is a race, and somebody is always lapping us. Somebody got engaged first. Somebody got the house first. Somebody's kid is reading before mine. Somebody's business hits 7 figures while I'm still praying for 5. I used to refresh timelines like it was my job, collecting insecurities, the way people collect likes. Then one day I was sitting in traffic crying because a girl I barely knew just announced her pregnancy. And I was still healing from a situationship that never even had a title. That was rock bottom and eye-opening all at once. I closed the app, deleted it for 30 days, and started watering my own grass. I wish I could tell you it was easy, but comparison is a thief that wears the mask of motivation. It whispers, hurry up, when God is saying, heal first. So I made a rule. If it's not my name on the blessing, it's not my business to measure against. I started celebrating people from a distance instead of from a deficit. I trained my eyes to look forward instead of sideways. And something wild happened. The moment I stopped clocking everybody else's milestones, I started hitting mine. Energy I used to spend envying started pouring into creating. The same hands that were scrolling started building. The same mouth that was asking, why not me yet, started saying thank you for what's next. Staying in my lane turned my life into a private runway. I stopped announcing arrivals and started enjoying the journey. I stopped asking, am I there yet? And started asking, who am I becoming? And girl, the woman I became in that focus season is the woman writing this to you now. Your timeline is not behind, it's custom. Your path is not slow, it's sacred. Somebody else's highlight reel is not your trailer. Run your race, admire their pace, but never trade your lane for theirs. The flowers blooming in your garden were planted for your nose first. When you finally stop looking left and right, you'll see you've been in full bloom the whole time. There is a season for shadows, baby, and it is one of the most powerful seasons you will ever live. I call it the silent construction phase. The part nobody posts about, the part nobody applauds, the part where you're up at 4 a.m., writing the proposal, crying over the budget, learning the skill, healing the wound, praying the prayer nobody hears but God. That's the part that makes the reveal breathtaking. I used to hate the dark seasons because I thought if people couldn't see me shining, I wasn't shining. Then I learned the most expensive diamonds are formed under pressure nobody sees. I built my champagne brand in those shadows. I wrote half my book in those shadows. I rebuilt my heart in those shadows. And when the curtains finally pulled back, when the bottles hit the shelves, when the book hit the stands, when I walked into rooms glowing like I had never been broken, people said, where did she come from? They never saw the nights I worked with tears on my keyboard. They never saw the prayers I screamed in my car. They never saw the days I chose discipline when distraction was easier. And that's exactly how I wanted it. Working in the dark taught me that real glow comes from internal light, not external validation. You don't need a crowd to build the dream. You need commitment. You don't need applause to keep going. You need alignment. The dark season is where you separate who you are from who they thought you were. It's where you trade potential for proof. I fell in love with those unseen hours because I knew every rep nobody saw was adding up to a reveal nobody could deny. So if you're in the dark right now, if nobody's checking for you, if the likes are low and the wins feel invisible, smile. You are not behind. You are under construction. The world is about to meet a version of you that only the dark had access to. Keep grinding where they can't see. Keep growing where they can't measure. Keep becoming where they can't reach. Because when your season of light finally comes, and it will, the same people who overlooked you will need sunglasses. The most beautiful success stories always start with a woman who wasn't afraid to work in the dark until her life was bright enough to turn on every light in the room. We have walked a long road together, you and I, from the night I almost lost everything because I told too much, all the way to this moment where I'm handing you the same key that unlocked every door I was ever meant to walk through. And now that we're here, now that you see how silence protected me, how action defined me, how patience refined me, how a tiny circle loved me, how staying in my lane freed me, and how working in the dark crowned me, there's only one thing left to say: guard this secret like it's the most expensive thing you own, because it is. This is not just advice, this is inheritance. I'm passing down everything I paid for with tears, mistakes, sleepless nights, and hard-won victories. I'm giving you the blueprint. I wish someone had pressed into my hand when I was 20-something and thought being loud was the same as being powerful. I needed someone to pull me close and whisper, baby girl, the less they know, the better you grow. I didn't have that voice then, but you have it now. And because I love you the way an older sister loves the younger one, still figuring it out, I need you to promise me something. Promise me you'll stop announcing your comeback while you're still in the healing room. Promise me you'll stop posting the vision board before the bricks are laid. Promise me you'll stop explaining your boundaries to people who never respected them in the first place. Promise me you'll move like a woman who finally understands that her power is not in how much she reveals, but in how much she protects. You are stepping into the season where everything changes, not because the world suddenly got kinder, but because you finally got wiser. The same mouth that used to give away your peace is about to learn a new language called discretion. The same fingers that used to overshare are about to learn a new rhythm called discipline. The same heart that used to break every time someone misunderstood you is about to grow a new skin called unbothered. You are becoming the woman people feel but can't figure out, the one they watch but can't touch, the one whose success arrives like a plot twist nobody saw coming. And when that day comes, and it will, when you walk into rooms carrying everything you built in silence, when your glow has its own postcode, when your name opens doors your mouth never had to knock on, remember this moment. Remember the night you decided to keep your mouth shut and let your life speak. I want you to carry the secret the way queens carry crowns, quietly, gracefully, and with the full knowledge that it was forged for you. Let people wonder how you did it. Let them guess. Let them assume it was luck or connections or privilege. Let them stay confused while you stay winning. Because the truth is too sacred to share with just anybody. And your peace is too expensive to explain to people who never paid the price to understand it. So here we are, loves. 10 chapters of my heart spilled across these pages just for you. This is me reaching through the screen, taking your hand, looking you in the eyes, and saying, you are enough right now to start. You are powerful enough to finish. And you are wise enough to do it all without giving the play-by-play. The next move is yours. Close the apps that make you compare. Silence the voices that make you explain. Protect the vision that God gave only you, and then go be the quiet storm the world never saw coming. Now that you know the secret, keep your mouth shut, your standards high, your circle small, your faith louder than your fears, and your actions louder than your announcements. The best part of your story is being written in the parts you never post. And when the book is finished, the whole world will finally understand why the quiet ones always win. If this spoke to your soul the way I pray it did, do me a favor, subscribe right now, drop a comment with the word silence so I know you received the message, like this video, and share it with every sister who needs to hear that her power is in what she chooses not to say. We're building a community of women who move differently from now on. Don't miss what's coming next. I love you. I'm proud of you, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay beautiful, stay brilliant, and stay quiet while you become everything they never expected.